Okay, it's 22nd of March, 2020. Uh, People are really concerned about coronavirus. They think that it's some kind of exotic disease that has come from the Far East and it's going to kill them. The reality is that everyone can relax because it's not. Coronavirus is basically like the flu, with one caveat. The caveat is it is a lower respiratory infection rather than upper respiratory infection. That means it affects the lungs. And unlike when your nose and your ears get plugged up with the flu, if your lungs get infected, well, that can kill you. But that's only going to kill people who are very elderly, because the elderly tend to be immunocompromised, or anyone else that's immunocompromised. For everyone else, the coronavirus is just a flu virus. That's all it is. A few days ago, I woke up. I had some ringing in my ear. My left eustachian tube, or however you pronounce that, it was blocked. My left ear was ringing. The next day it went away, but I started to feel lethargic. And I started to get a cough. I have it now. It's a mild cough, but it's persistent. And I feel that my lungs are irritated. My lungs are hurting me, and I don't have the pulmonary capacity that I normally would have. I was using an extension ladder 2 days ago, and it really took it out of me. Normally it wouldn't. So I have a feeling I have coronavirus. When you look at the websites and the YouTube channels that track these stats, what you're not seeing is the reality. As of the 20th of March, there's been only about 54,000 tests done in the entire United States of 320 million people. And the tests show that about a third of the people tested, actually more than a third of the people tested positive. Now, how can that be? If this was some very rare deadly disease, it would only infect a tiny, tiny sliver of the population. But it's infecting a third of the people tested. Yes, a lot of those people went into hospitals and they were complaining of, being rather ill, so naturally they were tested. But have you noticed that there's a lot of celebrities that have tested positive? How did that happen? How is it that these politicians are testing positive? Like Rand Paul today tested positive. He's fine, but he tested positive. That's because the virus is everywhere. It's in every town. It's in every store, just like the flu. That's why I have it. You think the virus just targets celebrities? The celebrities have it because, being celebrities, they have access, they have backdoor access to the healthcare system that you and I don't have, because the rich and the celebrities, they get preferential treatment, right? We know that. So they're able to get tested somehow. We don't know how they manage to do that, but they pick up the phone and they get a test. I can't get a test, right? I'm up here in Canada. I can't get tested. You can't get tested unless they say, we want to test you because you've been traveling or something. Otherwise, they don't test the general population. But people who do get tested because they're rich and famous, guess what? They show up positive many times. What does that tell you? It tells you the virus is everywhere. It's already in all of us. Well, not in all of us. It's probably In the United States, there's probably 50 million infections right now, just like what you would expect with the flu influenza pandemic, because the flu is a pandemic. Typically, the flu infects about 60 to 100 million Americans every season and kills about 20 to 50,000 of them. Coronavirus seems to be really lagging because coronavirus has been in the United States probably for 2 months already, and it's been circulating for 2 months. And what we do know is the deaths from coronavirus, because if you die from it, that gets recorded. And the deaths are like 400 in the entire United States. So 400 people have died from this infection after it's been circulating for 2 months in a country of 320 million people. That's less than the flu. If the flu kills 25 to 50,000 people every season in the United States, and coronavirus so far has only killed 400, then coronavirus has a mortality rate less than the flu. So what happened was we got spooked. We spooked ourselves into thinking that this was something strange because it's a new virus, right? They call it novel coronavirus, meaning it's a new strain we're not familiar with. And that's sort of the reason why governments got spooked. But the stats don't support the spook. 400 dead in the entire United States. Now that number is going to go up. Probably by the time this is over, it's going to go to 10,000. But that's still only a fraction of what the flu does. I would suggest to you that if everyone in the United States this moment was tested, I bet you a third of everyone would test positive for it. I'm positive I have it. I mean, take a look at these celebrities, these politicians, they're testing positive for it. And yet they're not sick and they're not dying, are they? They're just at home. Just like I'm at home. Well, I just went to the grocery store. I mean, I got to get groceries, right? That's another issue. So, should you be worried about it? No. Unless you're elderly, unless you're immunocompromised, this is just a nuisance in terms of your health. And I think what's going to happen is probably within the next week or so, as more of these tests come in, people are going to start to look around and they're going to say, well, wait a minute. Everyone on my street is fine. Everyone on the next street over is fine. Everyone in my office is fine. I don't know anyone sick and dying of coronavirus. And people are going to start to say, well, wait a minute. What's going on here? And then they're going to see the results are coming in, that there's hundreds of thousands and then millions of cases of infections. But there's not going to be millions of deaths. There's just going to be 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, like I say, maybe 10,000 by the time this whole thing blows over by the fall, which is, like I say, a fraction of what the flu does in one season. Coronavirus is here. It's everywhere. I have it. I'm positive I have it. All these celebrities, they have it. They're not sick. They're not in hospitals. Why not? Because they're fine. They're probably like me. They have a persistent cough. Their lung capacity has been reduced. They may have a low-grade fever, maybe. Like me, I feel weak. I feel lethargic. I know I'm infected with something. I can feel it. But I know I'm not infected with a regular flu because the regular flu is an upper respiratory. This is a lower respiratory. This is exactly what my symptoms are. So we're fine. Society is fine. This is this is not some kind of doomsday virus. This is not what a doomsday virus would look like, if such a thing even could exist. So I think in about 2 weeks, the governments of the world are going to start to look around and say, you know what? I think maybe we don't have to do the social distancing thing anymore. Because people are going to start to look around, as I said, and notice that they don't see any dead, dying, sick people around them. And they're going to wonder why. And they're going to wonder that when they see these test results coming back of hundreds of thousands of infections, millions of infections are going to be tested positive for if they do that many tests. And then they're going to put 2 and 2 together and go, well, wait a minute. Being infected by coronavirus is normal, just like being infected by the flu is normal. And then this whole thing is just going to go into reverse. They're going to take away all of the social distancing requirements, and society will get back to normal. And I think we're going to have to do a some type of forensic analysis of how it got this way, how we freaked ourselves out like this. We're going to have to do an autopsy of how this came to be. And it's going to start with the media. And I'll do another video about that. Thanks for watching.